In this video, I'm going to show you how Cycles can turn a small guitar part like this into this. So Cycles has some really cool preset instruments for you, but I tend to use the user source, which lets you load your own pre-recorded sample and drag and drop it into the system. And you can get a pretty cool result almost immediately. And you'll want to make sure your tempo is adjusted before you record so your notes line up. Now, before I get too deep into what Cycles does, I think it's important to understand how it adjusts your audio using granular synthesis. Those words were really daunting to me at first, especially paying $300 for a software that doesn't have a manual. But Cycles has a unique visual display that helps you see what's going on. They have these squares, these color-coded squares, that represent your audio file, chopped up into bits and color-coded. These audio bits are commonly referred to as grains or granules. Cycles lets you resynthesize all of these chopped audio bits using two main modes. The first being loops, which gives you 50 presets to start with. And the second mode being grains. The first thing I did for this track called Daywaves was record that guitar part. And then I just added a simple beat and a bass line and this candle that kind of sounds watery and a branch snapping. And altogether it kind of makes up the rhythm section for the song, and it sounds kind of cool. At this point I bounced a 4-bar loop of this section and ran it through any preset that I thought sounded interesting. One that I use a lot is called step mod, which is listed under the grain mode, and it kind of just has this distant planetary sound. It rises really fast and has a little bit of delay, and then it just kind of collapses at the bottom. I tend to use it a lot as an accent in the rhythm section. I'm pretty sure I use it on every single track on the album. This next one is just the candle. It's this top that has a suction. It sounds really cool, like that kind of sound. I use this one a lot. This one's called Plucky, and it kind of fills in the gaps between, the kick and the rim tap. I use it all over this project. It has a really good dirty analog feel, almost just white noise to the rhythm of the song. This next one is actually just the basic state of the loop. I'm not even choosing anything, I'm just dragging it in. And it's the very basic state. And all I'm doing is pitching it up an octave. And it gives it that upbeat quality. Since there's already a bass and a kick that I showed you earlier, it doesn't clutter up that low end. And here I'm just going through every single state that I bounced out and thought sounded good together. You can see that almost every audio file is chopped up. You kind of just have to listen for, what's going to be rhythmic, what's going to be ambient. I think it's important to approach each preset with an open mind. Think of them individually before you think of them together. And at the end, you'll start to hear them as separate sections, separate melodies, and they form a song. Now, this is just a brief overview of all the things that Cycles can do. I've found it to be a really good palette cleanser for songwriting, because sometimes I get too into my head about chord progressions and melodies, and with Cycles it feels like you're playing with sound, and it's a fun challenge to see how you can turn that noise into something musical.